Well, hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Tash Talk. Yeah, with
Yes.
Brandon and Stuart, where
Yeah.
we've been thinking about food. I mean, we've been thinking about food before Thanksgiving, after Thanksgiving. We're still thinking about food.
Yeah. And I'm hungry now. I'm
Yeah,
real hungry now.
yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie to you. I am like, I could feel it. Normally I'm pretty good, but I'm pretty hungry.
And I've been thinking about it too, and so you go online, you get your backdrop or so, and I saw this sandwich and I thought, man, that sure looks like lunch to me. You know, but I thought we just spent a little time just talking about, what kind of sandwiches we like, what we don't like. And for instance, like a sub sandwich, like the one behind me. Do you load up a sub sandwich with all the stuff that's like in on the picture?
Yeah, I'm particular about it. It depends what subs I'm doing and also where I'm going. That's a totally different element. Obviously I don't go to Subway. Subway's garbage. Really I blame Jared. Since he started doing things with kids, I was like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to support Subway. But also, Subway also used to be really good back in the day, and now it's just like, once they start appearing in Walmarts, you're like, yeah, I'm good.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think there isn't it the largest franchise out there. So you're absolutely
Probably.
right. It used to be that new corner sub shop and everything, and now it's everywhere. They put it
Nah,
on
it's the
they put it on cruise ships now.
yeah, it's the corporate nonsense. But I
Yeah,
do like getting a fresh loaf, and sometimes I'll make them from Luke. And Luke likes a little bit more stuff than I do. I don't mind all the meat. Luke's particular on certain meats. We put the tomato on. I want good, greens on there, but it depends what it is. Sauce also depends on what type of sandwich it is. Is it Italian? Are we doing, just a roast beef type, or are we doing a chicken or turkey? Like, what is it? And that's going to dictate the sauce, tomatoes and all that. And if you're going to do it right.
yeah. I mean, the classic sub sometimes would have a mixture of maybe four different meats on it.
Yeah.
Uh, I I never really got into that. I mean, I never
Oh,
could put, to put turkey and ham and
no, no,
then
no, no.
and then salami
Well,
and
yeah, salami,
pepperoni
yeah.
and
Yep.
all that on a sandwich. It almost like it's counterproductive to me.
Well, the greatest place right now around town, look, is Jimmy's right behind me,
Yeah.
down in Dallas. Shout out one of my favorite places on a thousand different reasons. I could do a whole show about Jimmy's. Luke and I go down there. Now it's been about 6 months since we've gone down there because I don't get there. We'll probably do again. I have a feeling we'll get down there over the next week. Could be next weekend.
Now,
Uh,
that's not to be confused with Jimmy John's.
Look, if anybody ever calls Jimmy's and Jimmy John's together in the same sentence, I'm unfriending them completely. Okay. Jimmy John's, again, Jimmy John's used to be great. Now, was it always great food? No, wasn't. The bread was great. And the cool thing about Jimmy John's was you could walk in and buy day old loaves of bread for like 45 cents. It was great.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and it was a perfect hangover. It was also the perfect, I've been drinking since noon and it's 1 a.m. because we would be like, and they would deliver. Like when we were out in Michigan State, they would deliver all the way up to 3 in the morning. So we'd be drinking, deliver, and it was great. Then, of course, the owner, again, I know I shouldn't associate places with like owners, but unfortunately I do. And one of the original owners was a big turd. And I was like, on Jimmy John's. But Jimmy's, no. Jimmy's, true Italian market grocery store. It reminds me of all the great Italian places I had back in Detroit, Chicago, the
Yep.
places in New York. First off, everything you could possibly imagine. That it's a very small aisle, just like an Italian store with boxes of pasta. And I'm not talking like we're anything and everything. Olive oil, from the simple olive oil to $50 bottles of olive oil.
Wow.
Amazing. But they got the deli and they got the sandwiches, and you got your meatball subs, or Luke and I's favorite, the Italian Stallion. and it is 5 different meats. Oh my God. But it is. It's the pepperoni, it's the salami, it's the mortadella, it's the provolone, and you can get them, and it's like $7.99 for 5 different fresh cut Italian meats. Put the sauce on there if you want it, get extra sauce on this, but they've got all kinds of different sandwiches. They've got clubs, and you go there during lunch during the week, and you got people driving from downtown Dallas, which this is just right on the outside. I mean, it's in Dallas, but
Yeah.
it's right, and they're coming for lunch, whatever. They do great wine tastings in the back, invite only, but on the way out, and then we grab cannolis too, but on the way out, $3 espressos. I think it might even be $2.50. So you're literally like, you get your sandwich, I need an espresso. Luke and I will sit. Now they'll tell you on their website, there's no seating on the inside, and there isn't, and no tables on the outside. There are a couple small tables on the outside if you want to smoke a cigar, drink your espresso. Luke and I will sit out there. I'll drink my espresso.
Yeah.
We'll eat a sandwich, or we'll just pop the trunk open. We sit in the back of the trunk, and we're eating our sandwich and a cannoli, and that is a sandwich for $7.99. You ain't getting that at Subway.
Yeah, I think there's another one, and I think they may be a franchise and all, but there's one also in the area called Capriati's, and one
That
of
is a
their
franchise,
claims to fame is that they are a bakery too, and the sandwich that you get in that shop, that bread was made probably an hour ago.
And
it's
that's the same with
still
Jimmy's
warm.
too in the
Yeah.
back. Yeah. There's
And
a
that-
place in Denton. I forget the name of it. There's an Italian place in Denton. It's family owned. They're from New York. I've been out there once. I think it's great. I do. I can't remember the name. I think it's great. Their sauce that they sell is phenomenal. My biggest complaint, number one, they don't have cappuccino. They don't have espresso. What are we doing? You know, like, what are we doing?
Hey,
Two,
what is
It
it?
just makes me so mad. Two,
But
I got to
they have
drive out to
cannolis.
Yeah, and I think Jimmy's cannolis are better, but theirs are good.
Oh, okay.
I don't like to drive out to Denton. It takes me just as long to get out to Denton as it does to Dallas, and it's easier. So that's my only complaint.
Yeah, well, we used to have a good friend who had the Patriot Sandwich Company out in
Sure,
Denton
sure.
too, and I mean that talk about a fresh sandwich. I mean, he used to slice his meats that day that he was going to put on his sandwiches. May see him again in the future. But I honestly think that there's places like Jimmy's and some of these mama papa sandwich shops that, a decade ago, they were really worried because when Subway came on the scene, it was going to be like, we're going to be driven out of business. Like when Dunkin' Donut came in and it overshadowed all the local donut shops. But I think people are now seeing that the flavor of the meats and the condiments and the breads and everything at these chain restaurants and everything, it's getting boring. And so they want to go back to the fresh places.
Well, and it's expensive too. I think Jimmy's has been around since the 60s, though, the 60s, 70s. I mean, it's been, but the other thing is, like, when you look at it, there are some corporate places or chains are good. Like Jersey Mike's is pretty solid. Like, if I had my choice between like Jersey Mike's and Jimmy John's and Subway, I'm taking Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's is good. My only complaint with Jersey Mike's is that they don't have enough choices to put on it. Like, I like peppers and I like pickles and all, but I also sometimes like black olives and green olives and choices of things. And theirs is a little bit more limited because they've pre-selected names for a lot of their sandwiches. You go in and you order number 1 or 4 or 12 or whatever. Now, do you prefer a cold sandwich, or do you sometimes going to get a hot sub, like a meatball
I mean,
sub?
like toasted or warm, two different things. Which one you mean?
Well, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So which way do you like to go? I think I go the toasted route.
It also depends on the sandwich I'm getting. Look, if I'm getting an Italian sandwich, just give it to me the way it is. I don't need it warm.
Yeah.
But then again, if you're in Chicago and you're getting a Chicago beef,
Right.
and it better be dripping. I want all that au jus, just or all the all the carnier, just load it up and boom boom. Oh God,
Yeah.
I'm getting excited just thinking.
That was always the thing about a real, Chicago style beef sandwich,
Real
was the fact
Chicago
that
beef.
the beef was already, stewing in the juices, and they would
Yes.
take that
I
out,
want it.
dripping wet into the bread. Then after they put all that wet meat into the bread, then they take the whole thing and dip it in, take it over, and then wrap it up in like 3 pieces of paper. Now, if you were to get that sandwich to go,
No, forget it.
you better have a very, very large tabletop to eat it at. Because
Look, my thing is too, and just like many others, there's a lot of people. There's very specific on where they get the Chicago beef from in Chicago, and there's also, of course, a lot of ripoffs. My thing here is, if you don't ask me how I want my beef, you just want a regular, extra wet, soaking.
right.
I don't like you because I want it soaking. I want to do the Chicago stance where I'm sitting, dripping down here with my up. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
that I want warm. You want that warm.
Right.
Toasted. Sometimes if they do the breakfast sub sandwiches toasted, I'm into that. Very few toasted for me. I don't mind a warm sandwich, especially like that warm beef, roast beef or whatever. But I think 80% of my sandwiches are cold, or
Yeah. Well, because you usually end up going and getting one that's a foot long anyway, and you eat half of it and take the other half home.
Well, that's subs. Now we're talking about other sandwiches. What about other sandwiches?
Yeah.
So you're looking at when you get your bread, what type of bread do you like on, say, a normal sandwich?
Well, I mean, obviously a lot of times you just have white or wheat bread and all, but I really like rye bread, true rye bread with seeds, or even the dark pumpernickel.
Pumpernickel's a good one and hard to find too, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, sometimes you can find rye, but pumpernickel is very, very hard. And pumpernickel, I will put on a sandwich with pumpernickel. I'll put different condiments on it. Like with a sub, I like a little Italian dressing drizzle or so on that. But on a pumpernickel, that's where I may use the spicy mustard, or with a little bit of lettuce and tomato.
Sure.
And then, like when you go into a deli, you get like a half a pound of corned beef or something, one meat, but it's piled high on the sandwich.
I agree. I'm a big sourdough fan if it's done right, and I'm talking like fresh sourdough. Where I work, they do their bread there, and they cut up the fresh, and they got this rosemary sourdough. Oh my God.
Oh, sounds good.
Oh, and you just make a sandwich out of that. And what I'll do with that is, because I go old school, I like to take the comfort food. I'll take a rosemary sourdough bread, and I'll make a grilled cheese out of it. But then I do the layered grilled cheese. Always 2 to 3 pieces of cheese. And I'm not talking Kraft singles. Let's get some good stuff here.
Right.
And I'll maybe put a little pepperoni inside of it or meat in it. Oh my God.
You like to mix your cheeses too?
Sometimes. Now, if I'm going let's say I have the honey wheat bread, your daily bread. I'll mix my cheeses sometimes. And what else I'll do is when I butter it, I'll sprinkle a little garlic salt on there and then toast it on each side. Oh my God. And I remember this. There was this girl, she was a good friend of mine, girlfriend for a while, but awesome girl, Italian girl. I probably should have married her, but her mom, when we were in school together, she would always make, Italian, so you're always feeding you,
Yeah.
And I'd come over all the time when we were friends, when we were boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. And she'd be like, "Hey, you want some grilled cheese? You want a grilled cheese?" And I was like, I'd say no, because sometimes I didn't want one, but she's like, "Okay, well, do you want one?" I'm like, "Okay, fine." Whenever she made you a grilled cheese, it was always two sandwiches, and it was double deckered. And so from then on, I couldn't eat grilled cheese any other way. I'd always make 2. And I'm like, this double decker. And I mean, like, you put the cheese in, another piece of bread, cheese, bread. Like, And she's the one who did a little sprinkle of the garlic salt, and I was like, "Oh, you fancy now?" So,
You know, I used to love to add to my grilled cheese sandwiches bacon bits, crumbled
oh
bacon.
yeah, or just strips of bacon.
You know, or yes, yeah, and not only that, but do that in a double decker or
Oh,
a triple decker sandwich too.
did you? Well, you remember? You're from up north. Remember Big Boy?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah,
so one of my greatest memories, besides of like always going there when I was a like teenager and didn't have a lot of money and getting the 99-cent cup of coffee just to drink for hours.
right.
I would go with my grandma and my aunt, and sometimes I go with my grandma and papa, or me and my cousins would go, and they always had the double decker grilled cheese, and it was thick, and they put the cheese on there, and then you could always get a cup of tomato soup for super cheap and just dip. Oh, that's what I like, the tomato soup, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now sometimes I don't. Maybe I'm alone, but I will take the sub sandwich like right behind me, but I'll do it in a wrap.
No, I could see that every when you're trying to be healthy, maybe
Well, yeah, that's to justify all the
trendy.
calories that are between the bread. And
You're like, I'm at 1,000 calories in this sandwich. Let me cut out 100 real quick.
yeah, the one that I really couldn't understand was like a Caesar wrap or
Oh
something.
my
You know,
god.
like you take a salad and you put it inside of a wrap or inside of a bun. And
My
I'm like,
favorite, yeah, when they're like, when they get the sandwich, they're like, well, we have an option where we do a wrap. And I'm like, no, I don't want the wrap. And they're like, well, we do a lettuce wrap. I'm like, let me get this straight.
yeah,
You're going to replace my awesome fresh Italian bread with my amazing meat and put 2 pieces of giant lettuce around there
right.
so I can have this
just to call it
illusion.
healthy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get out of here with that. Load it up.
Yes.
I'm trying to eat, you know?
You put a half a pound of meat on top of lettuce
Right.
and then call it healthy. So,
I love it. And I love mixing it up with, like, you know, maybe put some avocado on it, you know, because like I'll make sandwiches for Luke because, you know, when you're packing lunches, like kids get bored. Like
yeah.
all year last year, when he was in preschool, he was not allowed to have anything nuts. No peanuts, or because they would eat lunch in the classroom, and he was in a class with some stupid kid who had a stupid nut allergy, you
Oh,
know?
okay, yeah.
Yeah. Now it's in kindergarten and they don't care about your nut allergies. They're like, ah, screw you, you know? But so I was excited because I was like, cool, I can make them peanut butter and jelly. So I did peanut butter and jelly twice. I just happened to do it 2 days in a row. Mind you, it was after a year where he wasn't eating it for lunch. So, you know, that kid on the second day he came home, sandwich wasn't touched. And I'm like, what's wrong, buddy? You didn't feel good? Yeah, Dad, I really don't think I want peanut butter and jelly anymore. And I'm like,
He
you had
had
it
been
once.
detoxed.
Yeah. So now I'll make him subs. I'll make him a half a sub, Italian meat, put some pickles. He loves it. Or I'll make him a little sandwich with a slice of avocado. And he goes to town. Like, this kid gets fancy lunches, okay?
But you know, you got to be careful because once he gets to like junior high and you're making sandwiches like that, there's always going to be a kid across the table that wants to trade their peanut butter and jelly sandwich for his homemade sub.
When that kid gets junior high, he better start making his own lunch. He's on his own.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just saying, like, but like I'll do man, that kid, it's funny because like I pack salad in his lunch, you know, with a side of dressing. But then if I give him a certain sandwich, he wants his dip. So like he'll take the Italian sub and dip it in his sauce. But I mean, you know, there's something about a good sandwich, especially if you're traveling. Oh my God.
That you're absolutely right. Well,
I love a good Reuben. Reuben is one of my favorites too.
Yes. Yeah.
With the sauerkraut.
And that's got to be dripping in Russian dressing.
And that bread better be toasty too. Like, you know what I mean? It better be crunchy. It better not be soft, flimsy, crappy bread, you know?
Especially around the edges. So,
you know what place has good sandwiches? And I'll give them a shout out too, is Dee Dee's downtown Frisco. We went there last Saturday, me and my buddy, and I got the I almost said the Philly, but what's that stupid sandwich? Not the Reuben. Oh no, was it a Reuben? I got their patty melt.
Oh yes, yes.
Oh my, huge and dripping, and but they got a Reuben that they do there, not all the time, and it is delicious.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat right now.
I think I'm gonna finish my coffee and everything and start preparing for maybe hit one or two shops on the way.
Nothing
You know,
like it.
buy one for today and have one for tomorrow.
There you go.
So, go out and make a good one and have a great sandwich, folks, and come back next Tuesday to meet us. Okay, take care. Bye.
See you later.